welcome back to another TechMinds video. So in this video we're going to be talking about a multi-band HF antenna which is perfect for small gardens. As well as this antenna performing pretty well, it's also relatively cheap to make. Now this antenna covers from 80 meters through to 10 meters, that's 3.5 megahertz up to 28 megahertz without the need for a tuner or ATU, whatever you want to call it. Now this means it's resonant on the most popular handbands. Now if you don't have a very long garden or a full-size dipole, etc., then this antenna may be for you. So first off, let's start talking about the parts required. As you can see here, you will need a matching unit, and this consists of a 49:1 transformer. We're then going to need roughly 23 meters of antenna wire, and if you want 80 meters resonant as well, then you will need a 110 microhenry loading coil. Now when I say if you want 80 meters as well, what I mean is that you can also build this antenna for 40 meters to 10 meters without the loading coil and the extra 2.5 meters of wire after the coil. 20 meters of wire would actually be a half wave on the 40 meter band, which is 7 megahertz. As you can see here in the diagram, we have 8 meters of wire going vertical and 12 meters of wire going horizontal. In this diagram it is showing that it's an inverted L sloper, but in my home configuration the 12 meter part is horizontal. Now this shown in the diagram is if you do not have another anchor point for the end of the 12 meter section. Now the ratio of the 8 and 12 meter wire is not highly important, but I would recommend that if you're using this in inverted L, then try and get as much wire going vertical as you can. If you have the space and the length, then you can also mount this antenna entirely horizontal, as high as you can for better performance. The coax coming from your shack will connect directly to the 49:1 matching unit. Now in the original specifications for this, an earth is not required, but in my experience I modified my matching unit to have an earth point which I connected to a copper ground earth spike near the transformer. Now when it comes to choosing which wire to use, it really depends on how you're going to be installing this. For me, I used a 10 meter telescopic fishing pole for the vertical section of this antenna. Now, the wire that I initially used was 1.5mm PVC coated copper wire. Even though this wire works extremely well, I eventually changed it to some ultra lightweight green wire from Sotabeams. The reason for this was because the weight of the 22 meters of wire and the loading coil, my fiberglass pole was bending far too much and I didn't want it to break. By switching out to the lighter wire, I didn't really see any performance drops, which is obviously a good sign. Now let's talk about the matching unit, which is essentially a 49:1 transformer. Now there are many places on the internet where you can purchase these already made. In fact, I cheated and I purchased mine already made from eBay from around £25 here in the UK. Now this antenna is a result of a ham radio operator called Steve Nichols, G0KYA. He put together a very comprehensive guide on how you can make this antenna at home. This guide, as shown here, covers how to build the 49:1 transformer yourself from an FT240-43 auto transformer. He goes into specific detail on how you do the windings in the correct way. I'll leave a link in the description of this video to the actual document on Steve's website. If you are wanting to make this antenna cover 80 meters as well, then you will need a 110 microhenry loading coil. Now for this part I actually made it myself following the instructions in Steve's handy end-fed half-wave guide. The loading coil consists of 20 SWG enamelled copper wire over a 40mm PVC pipe with 76 turns. Unfortunately, I didn't take a photo of mine as I was building it, but for reference, this is how it should look. If you are using a smaller or larger diameter PVC pipe, then there are online inductance calculators that you can use to estimate the number of turns required to get to 110 microhenry. Now, I spoke earlier about earthing the transformer, but it is entirely up to you. In Steve's document, he details an alternative to using an earth. Without an earth, the end-fed half-wave will try and use the coax as a return path, which could result in nasty RF in the shack, which is definitely something you do not want if you're going to be transmitting with this antenna. Now, if you're just using it for receiving, then there is no real need. Now, to remedy this return path RF, you can create a choke. This consists of 10 turns of RG213 coax around a 4-inch former, or 8 turns of RG58 through a FT240-43 ferrite toroid mounted around 1 meter from the matching unit. This will then prevent any RF coming back down the coax and into the shack. Now, if you're interested in building this antenna, then I would highly recommend you go and have a good read through Steve's document, as it gives good advice on how to tune the antenna, and it also shows some expected results. Now, talking about expected results, let's hook mine up to a vector network analyzer to see how well this antenna is tuned across the supported bands. But first, let's take a look at my antenna installation. So here we have the 10 meter telescopic pole at the end. The top section's taken off, so it's around 8 or 9 meters tall. The wire goes up, goes across horizontally to a chimney. You can see there waving around in the wind. That's the 110 micro Henry coil there, with a little bit of extra wire on to about 2 meters for 80 meters. Let's go and have a look at the transformer itself at the base of this antenna. So as said before, this transformer I purchased off eBay for around £25. I modified it because it didn't actually have an earth point coming out. So I've connected an earth, and that goes off to a copper rod. The main element is connected to the top bolt there, and I drilled a hole into the telescopic pole, and the wire goes into the telescopic pole and all the way to the top, out of the top, and then across. Now I'm using RG58 to feed this antenna, so I do actually have a choke. I think it's 8 turns going through a ferrite core that was on the grass. And there we go, it's going right across the top and over to the chimney. So that's how I've got my multi-band end-fed half-wave installed. So here we are on the Nano VNA Saver software, and this is connected to my Nano VNA via a USB cable, which actually comes out as a COM port. But I've done a quick read, and I've set the sweep control between 3.5 megs and 29 megs, which you set up here in the top. And as you can see here, this is a VSWR reading. So you can see these dips here. All of these dips are basically where the antenna is pretty much resonant. So if we first start here on the left, we just click this little red arrow here. This is the 80 meter portion. You can see that 80 meters is actually quite narrow. It kind of sharply drops from a high SWR down to 1.9, which is not particularly great, but it's okay because my internal tuner can actually tune that. So I do get the whole of 80 meters. Now I probably could actually tune my end-fed half wave a little bit better for 80 meters, but let's just move up to the next band where we're expecting to see a good result. And that's over here. This is 40 meters. So on 7.07 megahertz, we've got an SWR of 1.3, which is quite nice. You can see it does cover the whole of the 40 meter band with a really low SWR, which is quite nice. So I don't need to use a tuner at all for 40 meters. The next band of interest is going to be 20 meters. So as we go up here, so this is 14.2 megahertz, and this is a VSWR of 1.4. So this is quite nice. It covers the entire 20 meter band with a relatively low SWR. It's quite nice. The next point is around 21 megahertz. So let's have a look here. So 21.095, we've got an SWR of 1.3. And then what it's going to do is going to jump all the way up to roughly where 10 meters is. So if I click this lowest point here, this lowest point is 27.47 megahertz. So slightly below 10 meters. It's actually sort of bang in the middle of 11 meters there. But let's just click the next one up here. So this point here, this is 28.235 megahertz with an SWR of 1.6. So even though the most resonant point is here, it's still actually covering quite nice the 10 meter portion. The highest part of 10 meters here, if I just click this little dot here, we've got 28.740, and that's 1.7. So obviously anything, and then it starts to drop down as it gets a bit higher up to 29 megs. So that's okay. I mean, we can work with that. And in fact, I probably could tune the antenna slightly better to get better performance. So that's kind of the sweep that you're going to be expecting to get from something like an end-fed half wave with a 49:1 transformer. So let's go ahead and connect it up to our SDR receiver and see how well it's performing on the bands.
X-ray 59156. QSR, thank you. QR set. Echo 7 Papa. Oscar Kilo 8 Alpha Whiskey 59157. Kilo India Radio for Kilo, contest. Thank you.
you contest, India radio 4 kilo, India radio 4 kilo, contest. Take you contest, India radio 4 kilo, India radio 4 kilo, contest. Take you contest.
The station with Germany, again. 591297.
Juliet Charlie,
5971. Okay, 1671 for you. 59472, thank you. Bye-bye. QRZ. 6 Mike Alpha.
Okay, 6 Mike Alpha.
Okay, 6 Mike Alpha, 59473.
Okay, so I hadn't actually checked the bands before turning the SDR receiver on, and wow, okay, so that's a perfect day today to demonstrate the end-fed half wave working. There's a contest on. As you could see there, we had 20 meters, 40 meters and 80 meters, absolutely stonking full to the brim of stations running. So I think that's a pretty good example of how well the end-fed half wave can work. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you've got one of these yourself, let me know how you get on with it. Let me know if there's any downs or pros. Let me know what you think, and if you're about to build one, also let me know. Until the next video, guys, you take care, and we'll see you on the next one.